except for like red card.
Yeah, no, it's tough watching Atlanta recently in their hard points, and I think Nameless hit it perfectly. It's just like, when have we ever seen a BZ and Simp struggle as hard as they have been in hardpoint as of recent? Like, they just really can't get anything going. And when you're playing this hardpoint game mode, you need your SMGs to create openings. You need them to win these one-on-one gunfights, and right now they just haven't been able to find that consistently. But it's just like, it's so weird because Atlanta, we talk about how they struggle so much in hardpoint. Then you go up against the #1 hardpoint team in the game and you make them look like nothing. So it's just insane. I always think, like, with this Atlanta FaZe roster, whenever you need to have it, they always are the team to always get it. So I expect them to figure it out sooner rather than later.
Yeah, that's very much so true. But, you know, pointing kind of the finger and keeping the spotlight on the Tiny Terrors, I think is an appropriate one because, you know, that's, you know, where the name kind of came from, was their ability just to rip through players and teams in whole and just dominate the map. But we have not seen that as much. Speak about them though. They will show up in the kill feed. A couple of seconds for LAG, but the map control solid for Atlanta as we look towards P2.
Yeah, it's perfect for Atlanta. Now with a clean 4 dead, you know all the spawn are going to go over towards fence side. We have the P2 side that we currently want. You already have Sim watching the whole way through well. And now you're just finding the trade through the middle of the map. Still maintain this side of the map. Be uncontested at that new hardpoint. But Kismet is able to sneak on through, just only able to find 1 kill. So Atlanta win their rotation. They're set up here at P2.
Yeah, looking good. Graza also gets the read that there are a couple of members over towards Arches. And there's no chance to shoot back in for fellow and Lunars. They tried the old 3-2-1 go, but doesn't work out whatsoever. Simp also catches one more through mid. Abizi trying to create a little bit of an extra layer. Doesn't work out. Draza on 5 and some trouble. Looks for the knife, but not gonna happen. Spawns are still decent, but now you have to try to fight this off if you're Atlanta from a little bit closer to the hill, and so far so good.
Yeah, maybe just put an AR in the hand of Simp. Like, we know that guy can shoot any weapon that he wants. 4 in a row with the AR. Abizi, your turn to try to hold down the front line, but he instantly gets cut down. So now, even though you have the spawns you want, you're looking for someone to find an opening. Draza does it from the hill. Simp trying to do it from the pinch, but he's just forced it back on down. Start thinking about that roto.
Nice shots from Simp, 5 in a row. Scrap time to LAG, but you're right. It is all about Atlanta just trying to play for rotation, something that they have, I will say, just need to improve on, especially against like the top teams that are out there. That's where they really kind of faltered, especially at, you know, Miami when they're playing up against Heretics. They just did not get themselves into good positions on rotation. And as we rotate over towards fences, a couple of kills do go the way of LAG. Chance for them to try to contest from the front.
Yeah, this is a sloppy rotation from Atlanta. You're expecting better when you're finding the initial kills off the roto, but just dying off the roto forces one of their players to spawn all the way across the map. And now LAG were able to manipulate how they were going to play it. They found the opening kill when they were able to contest early on, but now Atlanta FaZe, at least from the front side, are still having the numbers to fight it. But the pinch here from Johnny is going to be felt. He's able to find 3. LAG still hold.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things, you know, talking about the story, and the Deska kind of talked about this when we were featuring the LAG storyline of them not being a champs, of, you know, using this as an individual showcase. Johnny's a player that continues to, I think, just put himself and be found in bad spots. Like, he joins that Paris roster at the end of the Vanguard year where, like, they were already well out of playoffs. What are you going to do there? Same situation in a way here for LAG, trying to save the season late, some kind of heroics. But I have to still say, like, I have enjoyed watching Johnny when he does in challengers. It sucks we haven't really had a chance to really get an evaluation of how well he could be at this level.
And certain times when you're a challengers player and you work into the perfect situation, sometimes the situation just takes over everything. And unfortunately for him, he hasn't really had the best stenches in the CDL era. But like you said, still just trying to play for his reputation, potentially going to be a name that people want to look up for going into the next season. But Atlanta FaZe, and more specifically Simp, like the guy who's been struggling in the hard point, he's 14-5 on 5 in a row. He's doing whatever he wants.
He's been crushing. Johnny able to find him, though, a little bit unexpected from the backside through office halls, but shut down as he tries to approach the hard point. Nice shots from Cello with hop of P4, makes life easy for Draza. And after a momentary lead for LAG, the end of P4 has Atlanta now up 20+ points with Draza on 5 in a row, and we head back over to Fountain.
Yeah, now it's time to contest for the map control. Draza tries to sneak his way through round receiver, but Fellows able to catch him slipping. Now with BZ trying to make up for it, he gets traded out instantly. So LAG are finding the kills that they need to dominate the hallway control. We just need someone to hop in the objective because we're still bound by 25.
Yeah, this is one of those maps that, again, just like, have you, I don't know, maybe you can like give me an insight on this, Jay, but like watching LAG's Hardpoint, it feels like we're just not able to ever get anything set up and work together on anything of more than just maybe two players that find themselves next to each other, like those good old fashioned bait and switches. But like,
yeah,
in terms of the team moving together, it just feels really scattered.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, man. It's just not fluid. When you look at the pacing that Johnny and Kismet are able to play at, Fellow, he's sort of like one of those slower ARs, methodical ARs, just a stabilized guy. And Lunar sort of has the same pacing, so they're just truly never on the same pace.
Yeah.
To set up these breaks when they finding kills or anything of that sort. And now off the rotation, everyone's losing gunfights. You're already flipped the wall all the way across the map, and now Atlanta FaZe have a chance to run up the score.
Yeah, it's like even in that moment right there, I know the hard point's not open yet, but if you're LAG, like, are we choosing to receive the hit, or are we trying to meet it by playing a little bit further into where Atlanta are coming from? Because there were a couple of members who are sitting all the way back towards driveway, a couple that are trying to push out spiral. Like, it's just, what is the game plan? Like, what are we trying to do? Feels a little bit, again, mismanaged in terms of what the SMGs versus the ARs are doing, and it's another big double for Simp, 19 and 9, and it's gonna be Atlanta, if not at it, pretty much close to 150 points, depending on how this next hit for LAG goes.
Yeah, that was a 2v4 hold. Like, Simp and Selling were the only guys there, because LAG were able to find the kills through the back, flip the spawns out, but they just couldn't find the break, because Simp is having a phenomenal hardpoint game, and Selling is Mr. Consistent. That dynamic duo is always going to be tough to take down, but LAG get the break, but it's only for 5 seconds. You're laid off the rotation again over towards P3. You're looking for a couple kills to make your approach easier, but already 3 go down in favor of Atlanta. They're the team initially in it.
Yeah, and it's just like kind of, again, throwing the perspective on it for LAG. It's like Kismet and Johnny are putting together a decent effort in terms of like trying to actually create something, but I said this early when Lunars was initially picked up, he's just not playing the same way that he did in Challengers, and that has continued to largely be the case in terms of overall play style and kind of identity as a player. So I don't know, it just feels, again, a little bit strange, but Atlanta finding a way to get up about 100 points, and we'll take a listen to see how they're calming it out.
One shot and two contact. Two.
They're all gonna be out. They're gonna be out.
There's Johnny. Okay.
Top office. I'm playing.
Okay, 3 times, 1 spiral open. I guess so. 3 times though. I'll get up. On time, 2 times. Get
Nice, shit. I'm blocking. Good time.
Fire, open up.
Too low fire. They're gonna. Yo, one right opposite, one in front. They're
hitting front.
I'm blocking.
I'm gonna fire home.
I got stuck.
Yep, fully focused, fully dialed, fully locked in. Atlanta is not letting anything get through right now, Jay.
Yeah, this is just another day in the office for Atlanta. Like, you're sitting so far in stage 4, 1-2 overall record. You know that you need this win to give yourself a better chance at making it towards the winners bracket. And the communication is on point, and the slaying is on point. Finally, we're getting some progression out of Sim. 26 and 12. Like, the guy's doing whatever he wants. LAG are down by 100, trying to show some fight, but it might be too late.
Yeah, 24 and 14 as well for Cell. But it's one of those things, kind of like before we went to the listen, it's just, this is not the same play style that we saw from Lunars. I don't know if it's just a level of like the teammates that you have with you compared to what he was playing with when he was on that Admit Brooklyn squad that we found so much success. It just, everything feels individual, Jay. Like, it just, it you know, did not come across too rude about it, but it just kind of looks like 4 guys that are overly calming in a ranked game. Like, we're just not developing anything. We're not setting anything up. We're not picking up lanes. It's just, it's not been good. It's not been good.
You know the tough thing about it though, for like ever since this stench of the LAG roster has been formed, they have played out of their 9 matches, like 6 of them being the top teams like that we have in the game. So they really never had an opportunity to like work their way into it. They instantly had to show results to try to have a chance potentially at making it at champs. But when you're consistently losing to the best teams, your confidence isn't really going to be there. You start to potentially dart yourself a little bit. And it's just a tough situation to be in. But again, they're still trying to show some fight potentially going into the next season. They're still showing fight here by holding down this P2 from the front side. With Atlanta FaZe finding 3 kills, they can find the break and still close out the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. I mean, we'll talk about this when we get into between map 1 and map 2, but the opening for this LAG schedule, especially through major 3 quals, was very, very tough. But they continue to get essentially worked by the top teams in the game. Atlanta, who has needed to kind of show us, you know, some dominance in a hardpoint. They do get one of their most played maps, and you can see why. A very clean stuff there from start to finish.
And they're just smiling from cheek to cheek. They're like, all right, the game's just easy. I'm finding 2 kills from the front. They're consistently being split on their approach, on their break attempts. Like one guy going towards well, one guy going spiral, and 2 attacking from the front side. It's just Atlanta FaZe are picking them apart. You're dominating off the rotation. You're finding your kills, dominating the mid-map hallway pressure as well. And that was just an easy hard point there from Atlanta FaZe. Now LAG looking for a bounce back in Search and Destroy, where they have been like tested in their Search and Destroy. Yep. Like the rewind that we have coming up, both times they played it, they went to a round 11 once, they went to a round 10 once, but they just struggle on certain aspects of the teamwork game, which is like post plants are not the best, retakes are not the best, and versus Atlanta FaZe, who just hit you with so many mid-round adjustments. This is only going to get more difficult, like I said earlier.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And let's just go back here, because this is going to be an Atlanta FaZe montage reel. Talking about the point you had made about LAG in Major 3, their qualifier schedule. Just want to say it out loud. Carolina, Vancouver, a hot Boston team, LA Thieves, Toronto. And then your draw when you get to lower round 1, Toronto. So it's just like, that sucks. But the issue is when you get into this qualifying stage, like you drop a map 5 to Miami, that would have been a really solid win for you. Then you also lose a map 5 to Minnesota. It's just like, ugh, it's so tough, because those are the teams you'd have to beat, you know, to kind of show that this roster has something to offer. But losing to a Miami, losing to a Minnesota, not to say that Miami's bad, because they're obviously playing really well right now, but losing to Minnesota, not good news. And what, they still, I think they don't play Vegas again, I don't think. I don't know, maybe they do, but it's like they don't have many other teams to play, like at this point in time. Like, it's just, you have to be able to beat teams like Minnesota and Boston, for instance.
It's tough. Like you said, they ran into a hot Boston squad in stage 3, where they were able to find themselves a lot of success in that control game mode, and that was truly the difference maker in that series. But the Minnesota series, like, that was one that they were going blow for blow with. It's just get down to the final Search and Destroy, where the teamwork needs to make the dream work. It's just tough, man. And you also played Rocker on a map on Rewind, where they just have so many reps on the team, where they were just able to hit you with a couple audibles to close out that game number 5. But even in the Miami series, you're forced to a game 5, you got 6-0. It's just been like very tough for this LAG roster, man. And now you're obviously in front of Atlanta FaZe. You're down 0-1 in this series. You're going into a Rewind, Search and Destroy, and you got to just try to take these guys down with teamwork. And that's just not going to be easy, because you know the way that Simp opened up in that map number 1, he's going to try to dictate to how this game is going to be played.
And I think you say the word teamwork, why not go to a squad that has had 3 players playing with each other for the better part of the last decade, essentially, at this point? So, you know, that also is, again, this is a mismatch on paper. If you've never watched CDL before, that map 1 tells you pretty much the entirety of the story. But I'm sure all of you watching, or at least most of you watching, know what the expectations are for this series, and so far they are lining up. But let's talk a little bit more about what this Search and Destroy looks like here for Atlanta, because there is a level of, after dropping to Miami and losing a round 10 on dealership, you need to start getting yourself back into the mix to dominate this game mode. Because yes, your control has been solid, but you can't just keep going 50-50 in hard points and searches. Like, you need to start taking over and winning in one of those 2 modes. And so far this stage, they have been perfect. 4-0 with a couple of very convincing wins. And most importantly, Jay, they've played almost every single map in the pool. So they're really building out that map pool.
Yeah, it's just the map pool is basically perfect for Atlanta. Search and Destroy, you don't ever have to worry about these guys. They are always going to be able to figure it out. And even if it's a brand new map, they will develop some early strategies to dominate it early on. So Atlanta have been banking on Search and Destroy basically this entire season. You're ranked #1 so far in this stage. Your opening duel win percentage is at 76%.
Yeesh.
Yeah, you give them the first blood, it's GG. LAG, we gotta lock in.
Yeah. I mean, 75% is ridiculous. I mean, that's all you say. Here we go. Freedom chicken. See what we get. It's going to be LAG on the defense and with 3 members looking over towards top drive-through street. You would think they would try to find some sort of contact there, but it's actually Drazo who gets first blood. And the less noise that's made into A, the more Atlanta are going to be feeling like we can just get a free plant here.
Yeah, I love how they set that up early on for that first blood. It was Celium putting down shots from mid street, forcing the reposition to set up Draza at the first blood. Now in the man advantage. Atlanta sort of getting a read that they have to be working on this pinch, and Lunars is able to line up a double. You were expecting a BZ to find a trade there, but now LAG with the man up.
Oh, surely Simp doesn't just walk behind this play and find this for free. No, not going to happen. Trying back to the A site. LAG, good team shots. Leave Cell to the 1v3. Spam shots are out. A little bit of a reset here for Cell with a pistol. Or pardon me, that was the knife, but no, not going to happen. LAG too quick to move around it. And yeah, after the first blood comes out, LAG actually just kind of overwhelmed by sheer force of numbers the opposite side of the map.
Yeah, they work on the pinch, but if you're Atlanta FaZe, like, what were we waiting for to get the objective down? Like, we had all of mid-street. We knew that they weren't going to approach from glass. They had to be working on that flank. But it's just waiting too long and then committing on those gunfights and not winning them allowed LAG an opportunity back into that round. BZ not getting that trade allows the numbers to go in their favor. And then Simp tries to make up for it, but does get caught. And LAG able to clutch up on the defense and the man down.
Opening car bomb though blows up onto
Right.
Johnny. That's tough scenes. So another early first blood for Atlanta. And they've also gotten Simp deep in towards this A top shelves position. And I just don't know what you do here for your LAG besides trying to play through gens over to B. I just don't, you don't have any information on what's in the middle of A.
Yeah, you're just going to waste a lot of time if you go over towards A, checking every single corner. So now the stun check is going to connect to Fellow. He's also able to spot him, and Lunas finds a kill. Kismet also finds a second. It's a 2v2, but LAG makes something out of nothing.
I'll say twice in a row they've been able to do that. Kismet crosses, dealt with by Cell. Now it's just down to Fellow for the 1v2, and he's been tagged. And he's going to get a lot of space to work with here. The problem is the clock. That's exactly where I was going to go to, Jay.
Yeah, 30 seconds to play with. Taking an extremely long route to try to gain some information through the middle of the street, but Atlanta have already repositioned themselves. They most likely have the info that the bomb's going to be down over towards A, or they're just roaming around as an army of two, just timing on both sides.
Yeah. And now time's going to run out. Have to try to double up, and no, Fellow catches the first. Did not expect the second, though. And Atlanta will convert the round, but you're right. That's 2 rounds in a row after our first blood where LAG have created something out of nothing. So giving themselves lifelines in these rounds early.
Lifelines in these rounds early, or the complete opposite of a lifeline, because they're going down in the first 10 seconds for that first blood. They are just making these man down advantages somehow happen while they're working on these pinches. But that time Atlanta were able to stabilize, walk away with the man up, play the clock beautifully to tie the game. Celium on 3 in a row. The nade over the top, not going to connect on anyone. And this time it's Fellow to strike for the first kill.
Yep. And that's over all the way through street. So if you're Atlanta and you're feeling a little bit of pressure here, Johnny in the corner, able to get 1 trade. Hasn't turned that into a second, though. BZ right there for it. So 2v2. And Draws has seen Fellow on that little jump up over towards backside dumpsters. The problem is Lunars goes unnoticed at the front doors at A. And Draws is just going to try to reset this now, knowing that both players are on the bottom side of the minimap.
Yeah, the guy at RV definitely spotted him, so knows that Draza was somewhat nearby, but decided to hit the reset on the round. LG, I assume, have the info that the bomb is down with the way that they are playing this, but Lunas with the shoulders gets the info. Both hours turn. Now they're ready for the gunfight.
Draza going to reset how he tries to work this out. Good info there. Gonna find Fellow for free. Bomb should be collected. And Draza's gonna look to see if Lunars is gonna channel him out first and foremost. Here's the cross on the corner. Oh, Lunars gets caught looking the wrong direction. He was just watching that back door, turns as soon as Draza enters, and the 1v2 comes through.
He's able to isolate both of those gunfights and catch them off guard in both of those gunfights. That's insane out of Draza to play it the way that he did and catch timing on both players. Now let's just laugh about it a little bit, because those don't get any easier. If you are LAG, force him to plant the bomb. We don't have to be looking around for anything. Just play an army of two setup. I got your back, you got mine. But once he's able to split their approach on the map, it's an easy round there for Draza. Secure that 1v2 on Mother's Day.
Kismet, bomb carrier, looking to maybe get aggressive into A. Problem is he doesn't have a ton of opening support outside of Johnny, who's actually just committed to getting into the site. A little bit of damage. Kismet trying to follow up on that. Stun will come through to make sure the defense cannot challenge his back window's position. Oh, and Johnny has got a really good look at Draza, just cannot quite land the final shot needed to find the kill. Counter nades are in for the defense. Atlanta looking to test.
They're not going to get super aggressive on it. The bomb is going to get planted, but they time it perfectly. They slide on in while the bomb is getting down, and they walk away with the majority of the gunfights and walk right back on out. Now it's Kismet left in the 1v2. Has 40 seconds to work with. Is going to pick up the AR to make it a little bit easier.
Well, he's going to have a lot of time to play around A at the moment. Just comes down to will he commit for the plant? He does. Okay, so this gives him an opportunity here to kind of put the 1v2 on his terms. Resets back through gens. Oh, and the timing on this could be incredible. Ah, but he loses the first gunfight. Sully, I'm just happy to be watching that back angle. Draza instantly hop for the defuse as well. Again, putting the pressure onto Kismet, who nearly was able to provide, but doesn't quite win that first gunfight, and Atlanta secure the round.
Just a beautiful read there to sell him, because they were in a position to watch sort of the exit. They know that he didn't push out towards DVD. He's not in front of us at glass, so he had to have wrapped back. But the angle that he planted it at, potentially going to work his way back through gens. Selling him one of the more difficult gunfights, probably the most difficult gunfight that we have in the CDL, and just never getting caught off guard. Secures around there for Atlanta.
Well, see if things could start to move around a little bit here, because outside of the first blood success that Atlanta have had, LAG have obviously been able to cook up some good mid-round adjustments. Tons of nade stuns, all going toward that back courtyard and truck position. Some of them landing. Late trophy in for Atlanta, trying to stay alive on this B hit, but too many nades from LAG's defense. Deletes that trophy system. Now a little peek over the top from Kismet for two. Draza trying to reset the fight, but can't get away from Fellow, and it's just down to Cell, who is in some major trouble.
Yo, that's a big shout out to Kismet, man. Knowing that they're right over this wall, everyone is weak. Let's hope to God that someone's not watching over him, and he times the jump over perfectly to secure the opening first blood and the second. Basically shuts down around with that big time play. Allows LAG now some time to breathe. Down 3-2 in a search and destroy.
Love it. Just countering aggression with aggression. That's one of those rounds that, even though it kind of just feels like whoever's nades hits wins, it's a level of LAG just not giving up too much in terms of how this map is starting to build from like a trends and pattern situation. Because like if Atlanta just break you down right there and they get those nades to courtyard and they get those wins, it just cripples your ability to feel like your defense is going to do anything if you're LAG. But holding strong, down to within one, opening nades coming through for Atlanta defensively, putting some pressure on gens, and look at the route from Draza already behind the play.
And this round might already be over. Draza getting through the way that he did. He gains info. There's a lot of pressure over towards the B street. Gives the comms to his teammates. I have 1 week, but he's instantly going to get traded now. Sim potentially going to get isolated. He's going to back on up, but Kismet has the head glitch. And again, LAG makes something out of nothing. They're in a 3v2.
All BZ. Wow, bad timing, doesn't look to his right. Johnny for the first kill, and then the follow-up is also there, and you're absolutely right. It's just another one of those things that LAG have no business from that position. With the flank from Draza finding success, you would think to be able to succeed and find even legs to stand down in that round, but Kismet gets the trade, and most importantly, does not allow Simp to continue to push through. So maybe a bit of over-aggression from Atlanta on that crunch, but regardless of that, nice salvaging of the round from LAG.
Yeah, it's just insane. Like, because when Draza gets all the way pushed through Burger and up through the mid street and 20 seconds into the round, he is behind them. it's like, if you're Atlanta, like, do we change our defensive look? Because there was only one player in a position to find all those kills over towards B Street, and that was Simp. Celium and Abizi was still roaming around mid street. They were just not in a position to trap them there, and LG with the numbers able to prevail in that gunfight. But now already into the next round, Draza said, another first blood. Let me just add it to the tally, man. Advantage Atlanta early on.
We'll see if that does anything, though, because, again, it hasn't really mattered too much. Maybe it's just Atlanta getting a little bit too overeager, a little too over-aggressive, but maybe not. Lunars and Fellow shut down the attempt into A. So from a 3v4 to a 3v2 the other direction. Abizi trying to see if he can catch any information on this play through Courtyard, but there's none to be had because LAG are just going to try to reclaim the backside of the map and just flood in from the back of A. But Cell has gotten a read on this and is going to try to slip away, giving maybe an opportunity for Abizi to help, but no, not with the sub. He doesn't want that fight.
They got info on 2 players, and now LAG know where the player is going to be at. So if you're Johnny, start to work on this mid street pinch. And his teammate in Lunar is going to run around as an army of 2, but bomb gets planted at B. LAG with the man up. Got to put the reaction.
Opening shots, decent from Abizi, but can't get away from Lunars, who's fresh. Just on to Cell. Deals with Johnny, who was the one that was low. Now looking for Lunars. You have also a little bit of time here because Fellow is not in the play. I don't know if Cell actually saw him with that little jump peek. Checks again. No, not on for the defuse. Kind of odd. I thought for sure he was just going to jump over, take the kill, but not to be. And how about this? LAG, 4 in a row for Lunars are going to take the lead here.
This is insane, man. Like, how they keep on doing this. All right, someone die first, and then we're most likely going to walk away with this round. It's insane ice on, like, when they're timing these executes on their place to retake some space with the numbers that they have. And when you time it perfectly through the glass windows, both ARs have both corners. They both win their one-on-one gunfights to give you the man up, and then you back out. Just well executed there from LAG. Now with 3 rounds in a row to take the advantage here in the S&D.
Yeah. Oof. Okay. Been a really strange search and destroy. But Abizi 1 in 5. That gives you some indication how things have largely gone for him. Okay. I'm just gonna stop saying things. Caster Curse coming through like crazy as Kismet still out trades the action, leaving the Tiny Terrors as the last ones left. And split right now is LAG. Nice turn from Lunars. And now he's got a shoulder with Abizi, trying to get the regen as best as he can. Help is on the way, and Kismet finishes off the round. What a little snap from Lunars, though.
Again, Alan, look, 3v4. All right, we'll work it. But this time a 2v4, we still gonna work it. What a finessing play right there out of Lunars. The first gunfight win, once that player comes to the side door, is all reaction. Absolutely turnt. And that one-on-one, but then just finesses the pillar. A little bit of sauce. I'm going to peek left, throw a shoulder right. Wait for my teammate to get closer into the play before I commit on the chow. And just dancing, dancing, dancing. Allows LAG now in so many clutching rounds to be at game point.
This is unreal. RCXD out early. Abizi, the rest of Atlanta just diving on in towards Gens. And it looks like they're just going to wait here, see if they can catch LAG getting too aggressive. And that's exactly the case. They find first blood, but does that matter?
So far throughout this game, it does not play any factor to how these rounds are going to turn out. Out here, Atlanta, basically the same thing you did in round number 1. We're going to take our time on our air approach, but this time Johnny walks right into the preem of Abizi. Celium locates Lunars, and now Fellow left in a 1v4. Spotted already in mid-court. Simp knows I have him weak. Let me just commit on the one-on-one in Atlanta. Finally, off of a first blood. Able to walk away with the W there.
Yeah, for real. It's the first 2, though, this time, I think is the most important part, because they've had a lot of first bloods, and then there's been trades that have happened maybe 10, 15 seconds later that get us to those 3v3 situations. So, again, it just feels like Atlanta not playing with their numbers fully correct, but this time, no such mistakes. And again, it's like, even though like LAG are up, like it's hard to point to like what has been successful for them outside of the fact that they're getting away with these little double stack, triple stack moments in 3v4s, and they're outgunning Atlanta a little bit unexpectedly. I think just in terms of where the gunfights have happened and how many players are a part of them.
Now they're going to slow down their approach. RC car getting invested on someone's angle. It's going to be in the hands of Lunars. Atlanta taking a lot of space in through DVD. Is he going to be able to spot Simp? Yes, he does. And should potentially try to isolate onto this gunfight.
Well, the RC gets exploded in simple reposition. Oh, they're not going to expect this unless they slide out and double shell it. Nope. Nope, they don't expect that reposition. Simp just too slippery. Fellow try to take a couple of pot shots to see if they can find a trade, but not going to happen. Easy. We'll see both members. First one's free. Second one may as well be as well. So, okay. All of a sudden, a couple of rounds come through. We got ourselves around 11 affair, Jay.
Dude, I don't know what happens. It's like every time Atlanta FaZe find themselves down 5-2, 5-3, it's like the other team just starts playing so shook. Yeah. Like they just start playing so scared. You give up all the map control in favor of Atlanta. They take Burger, they take some space at B Street, and they have all of DVD control. You gain the info with the RC car, but you're able to do absolutely nothing with it. And then by the time you try to work your way into the site, Simp gets lost when you already knew where he was. And now all of a sudden we're in round 11.
Yep. It's like they just turn up and play a different game. LAG gonna try to get Johnny into the drive-through. But what do you want to do at this position? Draza is gonna slip back over towards backside dumpsters. Defensive nade. I don't know if that actually hits onto Kismet or not. No, he's behind the wall here. It's kind of hard to tell on the minimap if he was inside or out, but he'll stay safe. Stun check not gonna land. Shots around the backside of the shelves. And here comes the play forward, and Draza, yeah, I was gonna say he's seen Johnny, and another first blood comes through, and LAG are gonna be trapped on site. They don't expect the FaZe to be sitting at the close corner. That's another one to fall, and now it has to be a 2v4 in total for LAG.
And now here Atlanta FaZe, all right, it's got a little bit scary these last couple of rounds where we had man-up advantage. Already Draza at 21 HP. Just gonna play his life, but this time Celium has him covered. Fellow left in a 1v3. And with 30 seconds left, bomb down across the map. Makes it a 1v2.
Yeah, doable, but in trouble and running out of time, like you mentioned. But off the regen, back to full health. Has a chance to possibly isolate. Doesn't get the first look at Draza cleanly. Simp goes unnoticed, unknown to that point as well. Fellow, chance at it, but no. Not gonna happen. It's 3 in a row for the Atlanta FaZe to get this thing back in a round 11 win, 2-0 up. And there really is some sort of a level, Jay, of like Atlanta just like, oh, we might lose this map. All right, let's start trying now. Like it almost feels like that to a certain level.
It's crazy because they do it now multiple times in the last like 30 days. Like it's insane when they go down 5-2 in Search and Destroy, 5-3 in Search and Destroy. It's just like, okay, guys, it's time to turn it on. We start to switch up the pacing a little bit. We understood what they've been throwing at us every single round. And it's just like, guys, we found every single first blood basically on this map. We just got to play our numbers a little bit better. And thankfully in that round 11, Dross is able to spot Johnny on the cross, plays his super patient on his approach, but then is able to catch Johnny mid-sprint. And then once that first kick goes down over towards Burger, LAG know we have to commit. We have to try to make up for the numbers in DVD. So that's where Kismet gets aggressive, but doesn't check the corner. Abizi finds that kill, 4v2 for Atlanta. They don't throw this one away, quickly up 2-0 in the series.
Wild scenes, but Atlanta able to do what I think a lot of people would have expected, 2-0 up as head back to the desk.
Yeah, I think that is exactly what Maven was thinking there, Jay.
Yeah, I just feel like I've seen this a bunch from this LAG team. It's like the story of their year. Either they like go down massively in a hard point and they bring it back so it's a little bit close and I'm frustrated because I wish you turned it on a little bit earlier, or you have a big lead in Search and Destroy and you let it slip away. And regardless of roster, I feel like I've seen that so many times this year.
We got around 11. That's what I wanted. A 2-0 lead is what Atlanta fans wanted. It started, though, with a 97-point victory in Hardpoint. You both told me this team's not going to win championships because the Hardpoint's not that clean.
Hold on.
It wasn't a real test, but let's take a look at why.
Your mind changed because of map 1 versus LAG? Okay.
No, I didn't say it did. I said at the beginning that they will still win a championship regardless of
I believe it was.
Yeah, we draw.
Hardpoint improves.
We drawn. All right, let's pull it up. So, yeah, in my opinion, where Atlanta FaZe have struggled has been on rotation, right? Like at the end of hills, giving up too much scrap, not making the game easier for themselves. So this is what they did way better throughout this map. It's clearly been an emphasis for them in practice, and we're going to talk about it here, right? So we're rotating over towards fences. You can see there's 18 seconds left on this hill. So Atlanta FaZe, this is where they need to to lock in. Look how they play this. We'll jump into the mini-map. You're going to see a player. He's going to drop back to here, watch the well push through. That's going to give Atlanta. They're going to be spawning mid, and then those two players are going to wrap back here. Now, as we're setting up these rotations, right, we want to make it easier on our players because these guys, they got a little bit of a trek to get into position, to get to burn, to get positioned up top plat. So this player right here, he's going to pinch, I believe it's a BZ, and just find a couple of kills and stagger the opposition. Now, what happens when you do a play like that in rotation is it gives you an advantage for the first 30 seconds of hill, and then you can start to cycle them, right? So Atlanta FaZe, let's apply pressure at ult. We know they get a very deep spawn. All right, 6 seconds left. Now I'm a BZ. This is when I'm going to take my chances here. This is when I'm going to apply even more pressure and give us an easier rotation. I'm going to find a kill here. It's a two-piece because the team kill comes in, and now look at what that allows for Atlanta FaZe. We're inside this time early. We're all going to be around plat, and now even if they have a good push and get inside the hill for a second, this player can re-pinch them, re-flip those spawns, pick up a chunk of time, and then rotate to the next, right? So this is what we call momentum. When you start to roll down the hills and snowball hill after hill after hill, this is how you have to play it. Look at your mini map right here, number 7, that's Simp hitting them with the pinch. You never know where anybody's coming from, and now you just have full control of the map and rotation to next.
No, I think you said something that kind of nails it on the head. Like Joe and I were talking about, like, you know, kind of that period, like 10 seconds left at old, 10 seconds in new. Like, we talk a lot about rotation, but I like what you said, applying pressure to old, and that is something that I think FaZe don't do sometimes. Like they'll rotate, like they'll get to like good spots. If you look at the mini map, like it looks good, but if you're not applying any pressure to old or like getting any cuts, like you just allow like them to get to free spots on rotation and then pick you apart. Like you need to take space, and sometimes they're good at that, and sometimes they just. They don't. I don't know if it's like Cell like tries to play too safe.
Hardpoint has just evolved to the point where you have to be comfortable playing from both sides of the hill. And you have to be able. You want the other team to feel like they are in pandemonium, and that's exactly what we just saw. FaZe have the back spawn. All of a sudden, we got the other spawn. We're gonna slay you out, and then we're gonna go get rocked.
Like it should, if you rotate early, you should have freedom to do that and take some risk. Sometimes they just don't.
It's time to go into our MVP contenders discussion because we are nearing the end of the season, and we will crown one before we get to champs. I asked both of you to make your top 3 list. Maven, can you go first for me?
Yeah, I did Simp, Cell, Hydra. I think you kind of have to pick players from the top 2 teams right now. Just they've won all the events. I think I went with 2 FaZe players just because they've won 2 events is where I'm sitting at. Simp, I think in his current form has been struggling in Hardpoint, but listen, he's already got a major MVP. The guy, when he's in form, is God. Hydra, I think I would take over Scrap right now just because I think his turnaround in stage 2 and stage 3 in Search and Destroy is a big reason why Thieves went from like a kind of mediocre search team to a good search team.
Well, he actually spawned in Search.
Yes. So that's probably, you could make an argument for several players. That's where I went.
Yeah, you went with Scrap instead of Simp.
Yeah, I think Scrap has had an unbelievable year. I mean, he's our MVP of a recent tournament. He leads the way in almost every category for the LA Thieves, even in Search and Destroy on the season. And even when Hydra had the kick up in the last 2 stages in Search, like Scrap has still been ridiculous. Like highest average damage per round in the respawn and Hardpoint. Like he's always at the top of the damage list, but also KD this season, right? And you know, on the other side of that, I have Celium. I think this year both these ARs have been just unreal, man. Those are my personal 2 front runners are Scrap.
Now, I wanted to bring up the question. Of course, you can choose from teams who win championships. They hold the trophy at the end. But what about guys like Neptune, who take a team that wasn't ever on a Championship Sunday caliber roster, all of a sudden to back-to-back grand finals?
It's weird because I think you could argue he's had the biggest impact because he comes in and changes that team.
So wouldn't that make him the most valuable?
They just don't win. I think you just have to win one of those. Well, like, they're not winning them. They have 4-4 in the finals. Like, it's just hard. I hear you.
I feel like Mercury's filled in for Bean, so he's not most valuable on Toronto. Like, who else can do what Neptune has done?
Well, so they have this argument in every sport.
No, you do.
This is the argument in every sport.
Usually it's a combination of impact and winning. You need to win.
Chat, and we just want to start the impression farming. So get in there right now. Let us know, who do you think is the MVP? Do any of the guys like Joe Deceives, Neptune deserve a shout?
Well, I was going to say real quick, just back to your thing. I think it's funny because it all comes down to that map 7. Like, had Thieves won, it'd just be Scrap for me.
Yeah, and to me, I see the way you view like the 2 chips. To me, the Game 7 round 11, just like as a competitor, to me, that's like a wash.
I hear you, but it's just still a win.
Picking one from a star-studded lineup is never easy. A Game 3 is looking in the cards, though, for an easy Atlanta FaZe win. On the mic, we got Shift and Study.
Yeah, it doesn't look good for LAG. It hasn't for a minute now in this series. It doesn't look like it's going to be that way maybe in this map either. It's hostile to control. We kind of know what this is going to be for Atlanta. It's going to be a lot of running, a lot of gunning, a lot of SMGs going to be playing forward on this one. So LAG, they need to be able to meet that aggression, man. And again, you look at players like Johnny and Kismet, you know you're going to get there. But I still keep an eye on Lunars, man. It's like he's just not playing the same way that he does in Challengers, which was a lot of flexibility at the beginning of this year.
Thing is too though, Alan, it's like playing in Challengers compared to playing against the pros. It's two different levels, man.
That's
like
fair.
It's just a whole different amount of teamwork that you have to prepare yourself for. It's not as much scamming. There are a couple teams who scam the hell out of some series and just choke their team some series off of that scamming situation, but just like versus Atlanta, who's a well-polished team, this is only going to get tougher and tougher. But now down 0-2, LAG, at least on this map, can bank on their defenses. Their offenses where they need to show improvements, but defenses is where they're just able to outslay you to shreds. So Atlanta got to be prepared for it.
Yeah, indeed the case. So we'll see. A little patience here for Atlanta, though, off the get-go. Oh, draws it. Okay. Did not expect the Kismet was just going to be looking at the top window from that position. 3 are going to fall. Kill number 4 looking likely. Fellow stuck in the corner, but still wins the pistol battle over Cell. First tick, though, done at B. Second on the way.
And now you have the numbers if you are LHE to retake your way over towards this B point. That second segment is still getting worked on. You're trying to find the opening kill, but you stall out so much time for BZ now to be impactful on the pinch. Gets ones and gets on out, but at least LG stopped that second segment getting complete.
Really important for that. Atlanta coming back over through A, going to touch the zone here. Shots from Cell with the SMG out, going to be met by 2 LAG defenders top office, but I don't think LAG were expecting that this was going to be some sort of a hold on to A. They nearly get the first tick of progress done, do FaZe. Follow-up shots from a BZ, not quite able to finish off on to Kismet, but kills are still here, and Atlanta can get back over to the A zone again.
Oh, and that's 3 dead. So now where is the last guy we're looking for, which is Mr. Johnny, who's working on this pinch. At least over towards office. Second segment is already locked. All of LAG is slow on their approach. It's looking like they're just going to give this one up for free or not really have the opportunity to have that decision. Because Atlanta find 2 kills, extended time. Now they have 4 segments and a lot of map control to go with it. LAG to the ice up.
All right. See if we can try to get something going here. Onto the B point. Pinch on the way from Cell, but shut down. Good position from Fellow to deal with that. But Draza still continues to battle towards the out of the fences, and now all of a sudden the SMGs can push forward, and Atlanta are looking good for their second tick of progress. At least for now. Simp gets the first. Off the reload, stunned, damaged. Contest, ooh, just gets there in time, but Simp values his life, and Atlanta are now working on a pinch again from Draza through mid.
And again, LAG are just stuck in this tight setup. They have no breathing room. They are forced to take these one-on-one gunfights and forced to try to win them if they want to get on out of this setup. You go 2 for 2 in the battle. You're currently down by 4 lives. Draza trying to play for the trade, but he gets isolated. Celium, your turn. He's also going to fall. So LAG, every single time, just keep on fighting on their way on out.
Yeah, 2 life advantage for Atlanta, but getting close to being under 60 seconds to fight in this offense. But LAG just cannot get forward on the map. So again, it's just continuing to try to win out a couple of 1v1s on these lanes, these choke points. See if you can get a bit of a late spawn trap into play, but you don't want to miss out on what routes Atlanta are taking, because otherwise they can just get right back onto the zone like this. Sell for 1, make it 2, cleans up the backside play. Everything from LAG defensively has to happen from the front. Johnny up top might be the only one who can really try to do any damage as the trophy system is down, and Atlanta will get the second tick of progress.
Yeah, second segment already locked. Only 7 lives remaining for LAG, and 2 players already falling. So it's on Kismet, the Bulldog, to try to make up for it. They're both gonna fall, and Atlanta secure their first offense, get it done all through the segments. And I think the one hiccup on the round was just the way that Atlanta were able to commit on that A point. If you're LAG, you're thinking, all right, we shut down their B play, we go cut off rock.
Yeah.
They can touch A, but they're most likely going to try to take towards office. But no, they committed on that A push, found kills in sync, and were able to extend that time on that point, which is the more difficult one to do. So a perfect game plan there from Atlanta. Once you hit the mid-round adjustments to secure every single segment and the first round.
Yeah, it just kind of felt like LAG were like, oh, like they're playing through A. They're not just going to stay there. Surely they don't. But no, not the case. They get a little bit caught. Good start again for Cell. 4 in a row to finish off that round, 8 and 4 in the half. And now it's LAG's turn onto their attack, looking to just gut check hit right over towards B again. Kismet does get naded, so has to wait for a little while longer. Trophy system in front of this defense of Atlanta, try to keep them safe, but Draws is still pushed off this back position at Wine. Good follow-up to Kismet. Will have LAG looking pretty feisty over the B zone.
They're forced to get off the point because Abizi finds a kill on the bench. So now they're just trying to take some space over towards Plat. Abizi's still trying to contest from out of fence, but he's just trying to stall time. At least if you're LAG, you secured that first segment. Now you're trying to play the hunt game to locate where Abizi is. Went. Kismet is able to locate him. The second segment is locked, and LAG might be able to extend time early on.
Yeah, looking good for it. Third tick looking likely. Kismet underneath the banister will find the kill onto Simp. And yeah, 2:04 on the clock. This is a lot of time. Plus they have a 4 life lead. Kismet looking to make that a little bit more. And Atlanta aren't able to win a gunfight anywhere on the map, and this should be some good progress here on A.
I think you just back it on up and start stacking the point. We know that's 3 for 1 in the battle. We have a double stack, I think potentially a triple stack already here on A, but second segment should be guaranteed lock. But Simp is able to sleep his way on through, 2 top closed, finds a kill and almost gets out with his life. But once Lunars locates him, you still have the map control that you want. Hop instantly right back to that point.
Kismet trying to get that second tick over the finish line, but Abizi finds the kill and then turns onto Johnny over towards open hall. So that second tick is not fully done. Lunar's thinking about it. I'm sure he's sitting there like, if I can just get 1 kill and get on the point, we're good. But no, now there's depletion as Simple jump on the fountain. Celium clears out the top windows for 1. But the trades, the kills, the lives looking good for LAG, and now you can get back on again.
3 for 1. Last man standing is going to be Celium. You take care of him. Now everyone off the respawn. The stack is going to be good enough. You know Atlanta have to flood their way through bottom well. And LAG respond with a very good attacking round.
Yeah.
Usually don't have a lot of success on that side of the map, but when your SMGs are slaying to bits, catching their timings and their one-on-ones, makes it a whole lot easier on your approach off the respawn. All tied up in segments, 1-1 in the game.
Yeah, really nice stuff from LAG. Well coordinated. I like the idea that Fellow was playing through open hall, Kismet's playing over towards the previously captured B zone. You kind of surround that top hallway together. It works out beautifully. I mean, it's just easy teamwork stuff. At this stage in the game, you just kind of have to have it. Haven't seen a lot of it through the first 2 maps, but nice moment there. We're going to see if Atlanta can do some more damage on the offensive side with trophies now.
And Johnny's got to be a little bit frustrated. The jersey sleeves just don't want to sit on up, so he can show off the guns there. But at least the game is tied up at 1. He is on 3 in a row going into this next round. LAG finding a lot of success early on with all the kills. A clean 4 dead. You're already pushed out towards well. Someone's got to cut rock.
Felt the one responsible for it has both weapons to play off of. And both nades. Kids are going to jump over to help. Crossfire setup now underway. First playthrough for Simp gets the opener, but Kismet finishes off both. And Atlanta are now pretty much just stuck over towards bottom secret, but Kismet is tagged.
You can see him.
Yeah.
Guess not. Speezy was able to find a kill through top left. Thought Kismet was going to give the calm, but at least you're able to take care of him very, very quickly. Still, not a single segment earned on the side of Atlanta FaZe, and they only have 30 seconds to work with. You're going to get overwhelmed at that B point if you are Simp. And now, so far, Atlanta pushes every single time have just been scattered.
Well, here we go. Offense stuck. Need to win a couple of key gunfights. That one will allow the clock to be paused at A. Fellow not interested in challenging that yet, while Lunars will play up towards Spiral. So there's going to be a bit of a pinch, a little bit of a surround here, but with the clock ticking away, Atlanta kind of feel the pressure, and they're going to just full 4-man rotate back over to B. This is brilliant. You kind of stop that pinch play from finding any success. LAG are lost, and they're still trying to clear space while the second tick of progress is through. Third is going to be coming in. Contest is in for a moment. Lunar's off the pinch, but the extra 60 seconds is here, giving Atlanta a chance at this. What a rotation.
Dude, I don't know what LAG are doing. Like, what are we looking for? Ghosts? Like, it was all 4 dead 20 seconds ago. If they haven't wrapped back through well at that time, then they have to be working the OE. You give up that B point for free, and now Atlanta, you give them a lifeline, and they might be able to take them out here. Already have 2 kills in their favor. Still trying to clear out their spawn. They're taking their sweet time on their approach. Find the trade on the Lunars, and even though they're down by 7 lives, they still have an opportunity here.
Sure do. Just comes down to what they do with this next try to break off attempt through well side. Kismet gets a read, but does get traded out 9v16. Draza clears out Johnny. Does he expect to follow up? He sure does. Draza able to get 2. Fellow also seen over towards Rock, so Abizi feels like he can make a play onto the point while Simp deals with Lunars. And how about it? Here we go. Celium gonna put some pressure on Office. Second tick of progress being worked on.
The double stack is already in, so now you have to flood your way through bottom row.
No.
If you're LAG, you were thinking that this round was gonna be an easy one, but Atlanta FaZe, one of the top teams that we have on Hacienda Control, they are able to hit the adjustments, the rotation on the back end, and steal that round away there from LAG. All 6 segments again get secured, but that's a confident boost over around there for Atlanta.
You got to go back to that moment where you've got all 4 members in and around A, and you maybe have some sort of an inkling that you're going to split LAG up a little bit by being on the A point with less than 30 seconds on the clock. And the thing that's crazy about that is you get off the A point, all 4 of you rotate through, that pinch never comes out, and then you just have an immediate stack onto B, and LAG are like, wait, what? That's absolutely crazy.
And even before that, like for that play to develop, it came down to a 2v4 situation where Simp had to win a 1-on-1. Draza had to get off the objective and catch a player off the respawn. And they both clutched up in those gunfights to make that play even possible. So now Atlanta looking for a 3-0 here on a beautiful Sunday. Start off with the initial kill on their defense. They read the pressure coming in from LAG through top secret, where teams shooting each other in the back, and that's already 3 that Kismet last one standing.
Wow, what an absolute gut check play this is to just completely change how this map has started to go. And LAG, you just feel like that just is gonna suck the wind right out of your lungs. But still a chance to kind of break through this little bit of a spawn trap. Atlanta gonna give a little bit of space, trying to play for the next wave on their own terms, but Kismet opens up onto B. That's gonna be enough to stop the clock in 45 seconds.
They're trying to isolate onto the players off the respawn, basically leave Kismet as the last man standing. We'll allow our teammates who are coming back to life to focus you. And now you're simply going to get outnumbered. The trade comes in from Atlanta, 35 seconds and counting, and LAG are banking on this well push. This is probably not going to work here.
Well, you get one player out. Johnny able to follow up, but no, trades are in. And it's the last leg attempt here for LAG. 20 seconds of the clock, down 4 lives. They will get on to B to stop the clock. Just comes down to how much damage can Kismet create, waiting for help to get here. Nade cooked, slide out. Kismet can't even win the first 1v1 against Draza with a sub. Follow-up eliminations are good for FaZe. Last 13 seconds, and that gunfight might just have it completely nail and coffin as LAG has to dive into A.
Gotta get on the A point. Fellows just trying to play the contest corner on the top side of the well, but he is going to fall, and Atlanta are going to be able to walk away with a clean 3-0 here in this series. Puts them at 2-2 so far in the stage. Still have an opportunity to contest for winners bracket. The LAG, let's just add another one to a tally. Another L in the books.
Yeah, man, it's tough. It really is one of those situations, you know, kind of going back to like when Lunars is picked up halfway through the year. You know, when he gets into that team, like it was obviously very clearly not working.